I'm surrounded by people that are in it for clout. That's why I get so riled up when I talk about comedy and stuff. Big lesson for me this year has just been to really trust not just my instincts, but also the life experiences that I've lived. You don't need that many people around you, man. You gotta lock in with the absolute right people. And that doesn't mean that you shut out everybody. I cannot betray who I am at my core just for the sake of a career. But you gotta believe that in yourself. And at least I've been backing it. I'm not out here saying this and then not showing you anything. Take a look at the channel. We're displaying it full force. Like whatever you're doing in life, just lock in. Believe in yourself and get there. Like I promise you, it will eventually happen if you have the right intentions behind it, the right energy behind it, and you surround yourself with the right people. Not yes men, but honest, real, genuine people that are aligned with you. You know what I mean? This weird hand gesture for me to make. Make of that what you will. But people that are aligned with you mentally, you know, and creatively. It makes no sense. Trust your instincts, I think. Big lesson for me this year has just been to really trust not just my instincts, but also the life experiences that I've lived. I've lived such a life, and we all have. I've lived such a life that if you were to write it down on paper and I were to give it to somebody else as a book, they would think I just handed them some like Harry Potter novel. Like, what is all this supernatural shit that you put in there? That can't possibly be real. Go F yourself. And then, you know, over time, you remove yourself further and further from the actual situation that happened to you in your life. And then you fall victim to whatever this world, you know, whatever boxes this world puts you in. That's what it feels like. And eventually you start to either not remember or misremember and change your own history. And I've done that enough to conform. I'm like, yeah, you know what? There's no way this actually happened to me, even though it legit happened to me. And I have physical, like vivid memories, like sense memories, smell, touch of all these things happening that might be supernatural, you know, depending on how you look at life, or metaphysical, if you want to get scientific about things. And I'm just done denying those experiences to myself. I went further into studying my history, studying my ancestry, studying my heritage, and it's only brought me closer to me and closer to what I think I'm actually here to do. And comedy is very clearly a part of all of that. I'm here doing comedy, so it must mean something. This studio is gonna get smoky. I might have to stop this thing. I'm trying not to bait myself out. We'll see how Mr. Algorithm picks it up. But yeah, another thing I also really just fell back on is really like, you don't need that many people around you, man. You got to lock in with the absolute right people. And that doesn't mean that you shut out everybody, but I think there's layers to things. And the older you get, the smaller your circle should be, and the greater the level of security access needed to get into the smaller and smaller circles. So if you're out in the field, you know what I mean? You don't even need security access for that. That's when I'm out in the field. But for me to bring you into like some real stuff that I'm doing, some real conversations, or there's got to be a interview process there, and then you got to essentially prove yourself out. That's how life is. Like you can, and I'm firmly a believer of a leopard cannot change its spots, man. Firmly a believer. You got to trust people's nature. Does that make sense? People will naturally reveal who they are to you, and it's up to you to trust your instinct enough to know if that is for you or against you. And there's a lot of people that are perpetrators, nigga. There's a lot of people that will pretend to be for you or might actually not even be pretending. But the real thing of it all is, are they really for you? That's something only you can figure out. So even though they might not be against you, that doesn't necessarily mean they're for you automatically. And that's been a thing. Like I've had like just a weird random experience, but I've been reflecting on this one experience recently where I've had somebody apologize to me. One person has apologized to me over a course of years for something they did to me years ago. And eventually, the last apology they did, which was like maybe a year and a half ago, about the same situation, which obviously means they have lingering thoughts or guilt or whatever it is. You know, I don't want to automatically project what I think is happening, but that's what it appeared to be. Because you don't apologize to someone after they said it's okay multiple times for years if you don't think that there's some lingering negative energy or whatever, you know? But the last time this person apologized to me about the thing they did, they ended it. And I can distinctly remember even just standing there having this conversation. And then I'm like, yo, I promise you it's dead. Like there's no lingering, nothing about that. So feel good about it. You know what I mean? And then it ended properly, but the person said, okay, because I am really sorry. And then they ended it by saying, but I'm still a dirtbag though, or something to that extent, but I'm still, you know, how do you apologize for years and then end it by saying, but I'm still a dirtbag though? Like, how do you kind of leave it? Whether it's a joke or not, I think that's that kind of thing subconsciously comes to the surface. And that's what I mean by a leopard cannot change its spots. You know how hard it is to actually change, bro, for the better? Like, you see it actively on this podcast. These rants and these rambles and these week to week, bro, I'm done with this social media thing, or I got to figure it out. And then me and Dante have these back and forths and all that stuff. Like, I cannot betray who I am at my core just for the sake of a career, you know? And that's that honestly, thank God I love the challenge of that. Thank God I'm not looking at social media like a dinosaur comedian and being like, oh, I'm not going to do it at all. I've been trying to figure out how I fit in it. And, you know, it's funny. You kind of got to see the forest through the trees. You got to find a balance. And it took all those conversations and those internal dialogues and those external battles with Dante in the studio and conversations with comedians and doing shows with absolute gems of human beings, like my friend and brother Abbas Wahab, who I will talk about shortly in this week's comedy recap. It's so much. It's so much for a person to actually take the time to figure out and assess honestly without like, how do I phrase this? Because we're all our own worst enemies, right? So the whole thing is not to be overly critical of yourself, but you have to be honest with yourself to the point where you can get to the core of issues and address that. Like, I went through that whole phase of the comedy villain thing because I thought that that's how I needed to present myself online to get the messages that I wanted to get across. But like, I'm not a preacher either, so I never wanted to just be out here trying to spread messages. So that felt weird. And then people started to misunderstand or misinterpret what the whole idea or vision behind the stand-up comedy villain persona was. So I'm like, this isn't even what I'm trying to present myself as. And then, you know, eventually you get to that matrix point where you're talking to the kid with the spoon. And then it's like, and then you come to the realization that you cannot bend the spoon. There is no spoon, bro. Stop trying. Release. And in releasing, you essentially drop all the pieces and you can see how things settle. And you can, at least for me, I can sense the vibratory rate of the things as they settle, and what is vibing with me, I just pick back up. And now I feel like, I don't know, like I think I described this on the episode while I was talking to Dante, but maybe I didn't. But recently I've just been feeling like, if you ever watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, nerd. But there's a very pivotal episode where essentially Aang, who's the Avatar, is going through the lessons from this Indian guru, or this guru who's teaching him how to unlock all his chakras. And then eventually they get to the root chakra, which is your crown. And that's like your God mind or your godhood and all that stuff. You know, what your absolute best self, essentially, connected to the absolute best of you and all of your lineage, and tapping into the absolute peak of your DNA. All this, you know, hoopla stuff. And I've been feeling like the best way I can visually describe it is how that state, I have been feeling like I have fully connected with my best self, my highest self. And I can almost see every scenario, every situation, and not even just scenario and situation, but like people, places, things, attitudes, you know, like the places where I feel like I can progress, where I'm regressing, or where I've actually, you know, been pretty good. All like literally everything. I feel like I can see it all at an arm's length, and I can bring into focus things that I need to bring into focus at moments that I need to do that to get myself to where I know I can be. Like, I know this sounds crazy, right? This sounds like some freaking, this is a comedy podcast, but this is me as a comedian, bruh. And I can't express enough. You guys will continue to see with the show, with Black Zeus the show. Make sure you go watch that on the channel, because you will actually see I'm not talking out my ass. Like, we are creating amazing experiences with random strangers wherever we go. Just did it in America, so we're starting to prove it out. Like, we're going worldwide with it. This energy that we carry, the uniqueness that we bring to the stage is unmatched. Okay? You can say it's ego, you can say it's whatever, but you got to believe that in yourself. And at least I've been backing it. I'm not out here saying this and then not showing you anything. Take a look at the channel. We're displaying it full force. And when I bomb, you better believe I'll put that on tape too, because that's what this whole thing is about. That's why I believe I get better and better and better. Because I'm not focused on, like, bro, every day you should be better than you were yesterday. And if you're not in that mindset, then where are you in life? Because if you're still alive, bro, every day is an opportunity to do something better for yourself or for the people around you, or literally for anything. Tap into your nature. And here's the messed up part. Here's the absolute messed up part. This is where people get it all twisted. You know, especially when you start to get religion involved and all this stuff, like, how could God exist when babies are dying and da 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 da. I'm like, bro, you put that on a deity as opposed to the human being behind the button press that sends the bomb out to the place to kill the baby. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has free will to act according to their nature, and this is the part that messes people up. You look at the yin and the yin yang. There's light and dark, and there's a little bit of light in the dark, and there's a little bit of dark in the light. That is life. That is nature. Some people are actually on this earth, as messed up as it sounds, to do bad things. They're not good people, and that's just what it is. This is the yin and yang of life. So if you get into with who you are, and unfortunately, some of y'all might actually like legit be negative people, and that's what it is. Like, bro, what are we doing here, bro? You waiting for a Jesus dude to come back instead of just actually like looking at the teachings of all these Jesus, Krishna, Buddha. All these guys are telling you to be the guy, be the energy, be the change you want to see in the world. All these hokey, get out of here, bro. I'm surrounded by weirdos, bro. I'm surrounded by people that are in it for clout. That's why I get so riled up when I talk about comedy and stuff, because people really consider themselves comedians now that have nothing to do with comedy. Okay, they might release a sketch. Okay, they might have gotten on stage, but it's like at the core of what comedy is, it's connecting with people on a level of humor. But when you really understand like the breadth and the depth of that, you know, I'm not sitting here saying sketch comedy isn't comedy. I'm just saying the social media has completely warped not just the perception of what people accept and interpret comedy to be, but what artists are now thinking they need to do to be a comedian. It's like most of them are focused on nothing that has to do with actual comedy. That's why we need to like differentiate these things. You know what I mean? You're a social media sketch artist, if you want to sound fancy about it. You're kind of a loser in my opinion, but but whatever, yo, who cares? I'm a loser for my opinion too. Isn't that beautiful? You know?
This is Black Zeus, the podcast season 5.
I love y'all. Thank you for supporting. Once again, the Patreon is launched. If you do want to watch my comedy special right now, you can do so. It's only $10 and you can get it as part of the subscription fee. So like if you subscribe to the Patreon, you can get it that way, or you can just buy it outright for $10 that way. Once again, for transparency, I will release the comedy special for free on the YouTube once we hit 1,000 subscribers. So you can also just hit the subscriber button and just do that. You can support that way, whichever way you want to support. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all that. I don't necessarily use it the way everybody else does, but I'm there if you want to find me. AKA Black Zeus is the person to find on those platforms.